Soul Garden.
Good day from my smartphone to yours. I'm Love Casting from Costa Mesa, California, and this is your Wednesday Namaste Today. Good day and Namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. My name is stepº14. I am a psychic astrologer and the Sensei to Serious Joy at your soul service. Thank you so much for logging in, my little web show. This show covers Wednesday, October 7th, 2015. And today, step 14, Libra, is the ruling state of awareness. Now, before we dive into step 14, let's talk Libra real quick. Libra is one of the 12 states of human consciousness. There are 12 dimensions to being a human being. You're familiar with many of these. Our intellectual state of awareness is very common. Our emotional state, look at her emotional state, look at his emotional state, right? So we're used to talking about our emotional state. We're used to our ego state of awareness. That's also known as ME-rriage. But right now, we're working on Libra. Libra is our Venus, our step 6 energy, our 6 in numerology. It's also our capacity to love and be loved. It is also what I call the ME-rriage. It is the part of us that will surrender, the part of us that will compromise, the part of us that measures whether or not something is fair or balanced. And because of that, it is our artist and our ability to be an artist. Now, in my practical life coaching, I find that the first 15 degrees or the first 15 steps of Libra are all about the relationship to the self. So even if we're going to talk about Libra as an artist, I would say the first 15 steps is all about you as the artist before you even paint anything. And today we're at step 14, so we're one step before the Grandmaster Libra step, which is the point when the artist finally comes to peace with him or herself, or in my case with you, the ME-rriage. We come into peace with ourself and our ME-rriage. So today's topic is an effort to help you with your ME-rriage, and it's ME-rriage vows. ME-rriage vows are something I've come to learn in my practice. I always talk about people creating ME-rriage vows. I myself really do practice this. Check it out. This is my my ME-rriage band. I do this. People ask all the time what this is, and it just again affirms because I'm a light walker. I'm always there for others, and I always have to remind myself to be there for myself. But I think it's really great for you to come up with some ME-rriage vows that really vow to yourself who you're going to be to yourself. And today with step 14, ruling the day, we begin that discussion with ourselves. Now, technically, when is the discussion over? Step 17 is when you must commit to your vows, okay? You get married at step 18. You get ME-rried at step 18. And by the way, many people get married right when they're getting ME-rried. In fact, usually it's the same step. A lot of people end up getting married when they're getting ME-rried at step 18. 18 is when things happen. I'm a step 18 guy. That's why I chose 18. It's where all the action is. So that said, we're at step 14. We're in our ME-rriage, and we're working on ME-rriage vows. Now, I wanted to put in, because I'm working on ME-rriage vows to myself, which has to do with the way I work. It's just funny how it works out that way. But I'm a Libra communicator, and I try to live a Libra life. I try to live a life of beauty and balance. I do, and that's being a Taurus. So these are the things that I'm working on, and one of them is my show. Well, I have to say, in my show, I want to do this every day for you guys now. I think this is a way to go, which is to give you questions to ask yourself. And I think these questions today will help you in your ME-rriage and your ME-rriage vows. Okay? So the first question is, how do you belong treating yourself? How do you belong treating yourself? I mean, really meditate on that today. How do you belong treating yourself? Treating yourself on the inside. Very important. Second question, what does the heart truly believe about who you are? What does the heart truly believe about who you are? Who are you really to yourself? Okay? This is Clark Kent admitting that he's Superman or whatever, right? So these two questions are important, and I'm also going to answer my own questions because I think it'll help. For one, I'll say this: when it comes to how I belong treating myself, I've discovered in my own relationships with myself that I have always been treating myself like the underdog. I've always believed I was the underdog. I always believed I was born to circumstance. Part of my ego, unfortunate circumstance. Part of my ego wanted to overcome that and got off on that. So, but in my treatment of myself as the underdog, I've actually treated myself with poor class, not special, not protecting myself, like ironically contributing to the underdog story, like still treating myself like a piece of shit, even though part of me is fighting to prove to you I'm not an underdog. Who am I trying to prove it to? I'm trying to prove it to myself in my own ME-rriage, right? So I realized I don't belong treating myself like the underdog. That's not what I belong treating myself like. That doesn't get good results. I feel like shift. I'm not happy really. The Sensei Serious Joy, I'm really not happy most of the time because I'm constantly measuring that I'm not enough to something in this underdog ME-rriage. It's time to change my ME-rriage vows, right? So I believe that I belong treating myself like gold, and I mean that in the sense of someone who's special, who's precious, who's rare, that maybe the world doesn't understand how rare, and so therefore I need to treat myself as special. Now that comes me to the next question: is what does the heart believe? What does the heart live? That's what believe is, right? It's like what you want to be and what you want to live is what you believe. What you want to be and what you want to live is what you believe. All right? So it's like, what do I want to be and live? What do I believe? Do I want to be and live that I'm special? Hell yeah! You know what I mean? Hell yeah, I want to believe and live that I'm special. I want to be and live that I'm special. That's what I want to be and live. Now, the problem is I got caught up on the discussion of am I special or not, right? And coming full circle with all of it, I now believe everyone is special, and now I understand why everyone is special. It's my own belief. But my belief is that we are all part of God. That's why we're all special. It's like, oh, yeah, we're all part of God. It's like, no, you don't understand. If God takes a part of her arm and makes it into human beings, you're special. That was God's arm. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big deal. You know, like, and now I've begun to go, okay, everyone's special. All the grass, all the trees, all the squirrels. That's my live. I want to live that. But the point is that it doesn't matter if I'm special or not. It's just like if I thought about it, like if I married someone I've lived this marriage, someone who basically is kind of ordinary or whatever, I would still treat them like they're special, even though they're ordinary. That's who I am. So I have to treat myself in my new ME-rriage special, because I would treat somebody else who is what I might consider ordinary compared to myself very special, but treat myself as less than ordinary. And a lot of it's just because believing special or not believing special. My point is, belief is very important. What do you believe, who you really are? So ask yourself, how do you belong treating yourself? And what do you really believe? I mean, you don't have to tell anybody, but what do you believe? Do you believe that you're here to do something interesting? Do you believe that you have a gift for humankind? If that's the case, it's time to believe and start treating yourself differently. Holy shift, that was a little intervention there from Spirit. So this thing just came in, my little light guard. Hallelujah, said the universe. I'm going to keep rolling. So without further ado, why don't we let Spirit say something, since Spirit is busting in the conversation. And let me log into my guides and see what I believe for Wednesday the 7th. Okay, so I had to get quiet there. What comes in right away is Mars, and I see why. Mars is at step 7 today, which is Spirit. And Mars was at step 7 yesterday, but what's interesting about today is that Mars is opposing Neptune exactly. So we had this vortex before where Mars was, not Mars, but Jupiter was opposing Neptune. And that vortex was the end of the summer. Things are kind of really weird. It was the end of the Venus retrograde. Like, we just didn't know what was up or what was down, but we just kind of all went forward. Remember that? Well, now Mars is there, and I talked about this yesterday with the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and that the masculine is here to support the feminine, and that is true. Today, as Mars opposes Neptune, your male side is being stripped of its barbaric attachments. That's the best way to put it. Barbaric meaning things you can't bring into church with you, things that don't represent what is sacred. And so basically that's what it is that masculine energy today is being realigned with what is sacred, and to put your male energy in that place. Now, for people who are way out of whack, this might be where God takes them. Like, this is definitely Mars opposing Neptune is definitely a weird overdose. It'll be a vortex for death. I mean, people will pass away, just people who are ready to pass away, not necessarily anything dark, just like it's a vortex. And basically, it's a turning point too. It's basically the sacredness. That's what they're showing me. Like in the this is the point where you're going to get sacred with yourself for the next 24 hours in step 14, which I didn't get much into yet. But step 14 is where your heart, I love, decides it's dedicated to where you belong. Step 4, which adds up to a new step 5 thought about yourself, a new idea about yourself. So today. Mars is humbling, our head is bowing, and our heart can speak forward. And our heart is what knows where it belongs. Our heart is what knows what the truth is. And so today, people's egos that are out of line, this is where truth will come forward. So you might see Trump his mouth a little bit. You might see other politicians say something stupid in this moment because Spirit is getting their voice with Mars at step 7. The other thing that comes up right away is the step 4 and step 14. So 4 is I belong. We've been talking about I belong. And Black Lilith is at step 4 right now. And so what that means is that everyone is afraid that they'll end up on the wrong bus. Like, so it's like when, think of politicians, again, they're good examples. Politicians, come out for a pipeline or against a pipeline, for Russia or against Russia. What they're saying is they belong with this or they don't belong with that. And then, every voter goes, well, you don't belong with me because you don't belong with that. So there's a lot of this belonging and this is separating the teams, like getting ready for the race. And I mean presidential, but you have to understand that it's not just a presidential race. With the United States still being the ruling economy of the world, this is a philosophical race between two sides. And with Saturn at step 1, this is a debate of the way it ought to be and a true debate. So with all that said, people are afraid of choosing wrong. They're afraid of voting for the wrong candidate. They're afraid of belonging to the wrong side. And that's represented by Black Lilith at step 4. So, again, if your ego bows to Spirit and bows to your truth, if your ego bows to what is sacred in you, if you listen to your heart and your ego bows to what is sacred, you will not end up on the wrong bus. All right? But I think the fact that the wrong bus is right there next to the right bus is pretty much the way to help people out, actually. It's pretty helpful. I don't know about you, but as a person, like a wizard who's creating his own reality all the time and trying to manifest cool stuff, it's like I get confused. Like, is this the bus? Is this the one that I'm supposed to get on? And a lot of times I don't know it's the right bus unless I see the wrong bus right next to him. Like, well, there's the wrong bus. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes me affirm the right. Now, I realized recently that I had Black Lilith conjunct Juno in my natal chart, so that's my whole life. The right girl next to the wrong girl. Oh, dear Lord. Speaking of girls, Venus is at step 29 today, and that means that in the next 36 hours, you'll have a final test to your heart. And with the moon in Leo too, this is what I'm feeling too. It's like something may happen. It may just be a moment with yourself. It may be a moment with someone else. But like it's a symbolic test of what you stand for. And it may be nothing. It may be something that gets passed by in the second. But it's very powerful. And it's one of those moments that everyone will remember. So you really want to stay completely in alignment with your heart. Does God, universe care if we cheat? No. But if you happen to cheat in the next 36 hours, it will have a lot of effect just because the cause energy is so powerful. So you'll have a very, very big effect if you cheat your own heart right now, even if it seems extremely small. So put in the simplest terms, if a person were to cheat when they gamble, I would say they would get caught in the next 36 hours. It probably wouldn't work out for them. The last thing I just want to say is that in the next 24 hours, our mind will be drawing some lines about where we really stand about certain things in our issues. So expect the unexpected. A lot of people won't choose the way you thought, and that's okay, because even if they're on the wrong path, they'll eventually learn what the right is. And that's part of allowing people to... Loving is giving people the freedom. Loving is letting people choose their path. And that includes you, my friend. You may choose. They're like, yeah, I'm choosing to stop watching now. That's my dark humor. Anything else, guys? Nope. That's it for now. All right, my friends, I'm actually holding back my little sheet here. If you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm wrestling the sheet so it doesn't screw up my take. But I'm just rolling with it. That's the example of Mercury retrograde. Hey, just go with it, my friend. Stay in your heart. Remember where you belong and answer those questions to yourself. How do you belong treating yourself? Really? How do you belong? And what do you really believe inside there? I'll see you in 24 hours with more. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.